What happened to our my video here?
When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us at the Financial Freedom Forever Podcast today. I'm super excited to have a rock star agent and business owner here, Phil Hahn, today with us from Vancouver Island, British Columbia. How you doing today, Phil?
Doing fantastic, Andre. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to kind of share your story for our listeners there. Hey, Phil has a reputation at every brokerage that he's ever been at to be the top agent, earning the top commissions and closing the most deals month after month, year after year. He's his ability to develop processes and that commits to leads and success quickly and become a top 1% agent is beyond normal. So we're excited to have Phil on today and kind of dig into his story and see what he can do to help our listeners grow their businesses like Phil has grown his. So thanks again for joining us today, Phil.
That's awesome, Andre, and thanks very much for having me. I was just that we were talking about how far we go back in our real estate days, and it's 20 years just kind of flies like that, eh?
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, the years go by fast, and the gray hairs come out quickly as well.
Isn't that? Yeah, no kidding. I think you were you in upstate New York, right? Originally, when we first connected.
Yeah, upstate New York for 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. Yeah. So, getting into real estate. I got into real estate, Andre, more out of necessity than anything else.
Yeah.
I had a very successful automotive arbitrage business that we were exporting high-end cars all over the world, arbitraging cars from Canada to the U.S. Based on hedging the currency. And it was a really cool kind of a vibe business. Was in that from 96 to 2001. And then the market fell out and I needed to pivot. And so my spouse had said, why don't we take a look at getting into real estate? This was in 2001, right? Yeah, 2001. And so I said, okay, yeah, let's take a look at it. And so to get my head on, I went back to my trade. I'm a cement finisher by trade. So I went and worked on the tools, was finishing sidewalk, doing curb and gutter and sidewalk, and lost about 30 pounds right out of the gate, and was doing my real estate course at the time. And I selected my real estate company based on its proximity, the location of the office to where I was living at the time. Okay. And so a lot of thought went into that. I saw the building and it was close to my house. And I said, hey, that looks like a great place. And it was a nationally recognized company, a local Canadian brand. And so I said, hey, I'll go there. And so aligned with that company, I had engaged Tom Hopkins to coach me because I was listening to the Mastering the Art of Selling Real Estate cassettes, right, and Mastering the Art of Listing Real Estate. And it just rang true to me. The guy was authentic. He was a believer. He had great scripting, and his story just really rang true to me. So started listening to those cassettes every day, driving to my construction job, doing my real estate course at night and on weekends, and getting yelled at in Italian all day while I'm doing my construction. And so I get my license in April of 2002. And I joined this brokerage, and I sit down with I call the gentleman that was basically the broker owner at the time there was a multi-office franchise situation, and the managing broker, and I sit them down for a special meeting, and I tell them that I want to sell 100 homes this year. And they look at me like I'm insane. And they say, well, no one's ever done that. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. I feel like I can do it. I just had this ardent desire and belief in myself and work ethic that, I'd be able to do it. And so I put the number 100. I printed it off. I went to Staples and I just printed off a bunch of 8.5 by 11s and put the number 100 everywhere, on my fridge, in my bedroom, in my bathroom, in my office, everywhere I could see it, so that it was, my reticular activator was all I was thinking was 100, 100, 100. And of course I had absolutely no money, because the car business had, done a 180, and it went from amazing to very bad. And so I, was totally undercapitalized, and I came up with a campaign that I would go and collect non-perishable food items for my local food bank.
Okay.
And so what I would do, Andre, is I would knock on the door of the homes in my area, on my street, started with my street, made sense to me, and introduced myself and said, hey, I'm Phil here with the Hahn for Homes team. I named a team, and even though I didn't have a team, it was myself and my spouse that had her license, but really she was looking after our kids, and we had 3 and I was out there grinding. And are you interested in, donating anything to our local food bank? And 9 times out of 10, people were very warm, and they'd say, sure. And so I'd hand them a little flyer with information on my team, and say, by the way, do you know of anyone interested in buying or selling real estate in the community? Because I'm going to be building a business here, and I want to help our community. And I'm, as the local area professional for our firm, do you know of anyone that I could help? And so they would say either yes, Jimmy, my cousin, my uncle, or, and if they said no, then I'd say, well, can I offer you a complimentary home evaluation on your property? Right. And it was really as simple as that, Andre. Like, we know there's no secret, right? It's hard work. Going up is really the secret. And so I did that. And around came December 31st, 2002. I didn't close 100. I did 96. Okay. So I think I want to say my average sale price was probably about 150,000. Remember those? Yeah. Even less, right? And so, it was a great success, and I was so happy. And so I met with had to call the broker owner and the managing broker in to share my goals for 2003. And so I sat them down, and I looked at them, and I said, I'm going to sell 200 homes this year. And the broker owner, Andre, and I'll never forget this life-changing moment for me, crossed his arms and sat back in his chair, and he said, well, no one's ever done that. And why can't you be happy with what you've done?
Wow.
And I felt like crying, because I felt like I am not in the environment that is conducive to my success and my big, hairy, audacious goals, and it became very apparent to me. And then he went on to say, and he's a lovely man. It's, it's just a different mindset. Went on to give me a speech about, how he loved this store called The Bay. And The Bay was always the same. Things never changed. There was no hype. And once a year they had Bay Days, and that's when you would go and you'd get a little bit of a discount. And, he went into the speech about The Bay, and I said, well, okay, that's interesting. Well, I like Future Shop. Future Shop is a store where you go in. There's 10 people that would jump on you at the time and be like, hey, how can we help you? How can we be of assistance? We got this promo on, boom, 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 great energy, loud music playing. And I'd always leave there with more things than I planned on buying. Okay. Right. It was an electronic computer shop. And so, that kind of rang true to me. And anyway, so I just kind of tucked it in my back pocket. And I knew that the habits that had taken me to 96 transactions, I needed to change those habits in order to get to, 200. Right.
Right.
So started looking for coaches outside of Tom Hopkins, and ran into Craig Proctor. And at that time, it was the your home sold guaranteed, or we'll buy it, and all that kind of stuff. Right. And so I went to the super conference, which is interesting because I think a lot of other people in our organization and in our groups actually were at that super conference. Was the first one, which was in Phoenix, in Scottsdale in 2003 at the JW Marriott Desert Ridge. Right. Okay. And the reason it was in Scottsdale was because there was the SARS virus in Toronto.
Right.
And they shut down Toronto. Do you remember that, Andre? They shut it down, right?
Yeah, that's when we stopped going to Toronto for those events.
Yeah, right. And so we went to the conference, met some of the coaches. I want to say that's where I met you the first time, and your partner at the time, and it was just a great time. In fact, Mike Reese was there. I want to say Mike Reese was there, and he was a kid, because I'd say I'm probably 10 years older than him. He was there. I remember meeting Mike, and Yeah, so got back, loved the conference, was just mind-boggling hearing Dan Kennedy and, Michael
Right.
Gerber and all this stuff. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. And
That's right.
so it was pretty phenomenal stuff. And so I came back, my head was spinning. And what did I do? I went and printed 50,000 postcards, your home sold guaranteed, or we'll sell it for free, without checking with the broker, without anything, right? And I just put the little thing that Craig said, some conditions apply, buyer and seller must agree on price and possession date. And I started hammering the city. Well, don't I get a call from the managing broker? And I got to go into the big meeting. And he says, you can't do that. We don't do that here. That's gimmicky. We don't do that. That's not our kind of stuff. And so I'm getting this big lecture about that. And anyway, it was clear to me that we were not aligned. And so I started looking elsewhere. And at the time, there was a little company out of Texas that had just opened up in Ottawa. And I met with the broker owner, and I shared my story and what I wanted to do. And he was like, well, yeah, like, let's do everything. Like, absolutely. Like, whatever you want to do, let's do it. As long as, we get the okay from the real estate council and we're okay, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
And so I felt so good. I felt like, wow, this is going to be a place where we're going to flourish. This is an environment that is going to want us to win. And that's not going to be one of envy and resentment, but abundance and
Right.
an abundance mindset, as opposed to one of scarcity. And so, Andre, I prepared for my change, right? For my change of company. And during that time, I bought a Hummer, an H2, and I logoed that up fully, your home sold guaranteed. And
Right.
I wasn't even allowed to park it in the parking lot of my former brokerage because people thought we owned the franchise now, and it was alienating our colleagues. We weren't allowed to put our listings on the listing board anymore because it was just our listings. Most of the listings in the market at the time were ours, and we weren't allowed to put our sales because it was alienating our colleagues. And so it was so apparent that we were not in the right place. And so anyway, it took us about from call it early spring of 03 through to mid fall of 03 to make the move to that red company. And we were there, had amazing success. We're blessed to be top team in the nation, one of the top 10 in the world in our prime, and just really blew it up, grew that company, had a great environment, and really, really loved it. Ended up selling the business and moving to Vancouver Island. And what precipitated that, Andre, is I had a meeting on Vancouver Island in the winter of 06. And when I left my home, and you know what the cold's like as well, it was minus 48 degrees Celsius with the wind chill. And I was driving the Hummer to the airport, and the road, the truck was so frozen, it felt like it was going to break in half. Okay. And I'm wearing my trench coat, ski coat. I've got to stop off at the gas station to get gas, and I'm freezing. Like, I'm pumping the gas and I'm like freezing. I'm keeping the car running, of course, because that's what you do back east, right? When it's cold, you don't turn your car off and gas it up. And I get to the airport, get on the plane, fly from Ottawa to Calgary, and then from Calgary to Victoria to Vancouver Island. And as I'm flying in, Andre, you'd think, and you're living in Florida now, so you can relate to this, you'd think I was flying into the Caribbean. There's beautiful white caps. There's lovely waves. The sun is shining. The plane lands, and it's 11 degrees. So it went from minus 48 to 11 degrees, a 59-degree difference within the same country in the same day. So I called my spouse and I said, you know what, we got to get back to the island because we'd spent some time here when we were younger. And so we ended up selling the business and moving to Vancouver Island. And by summer of 06, we were relocated. Our kids were all registered in school and ready to rock and roll. So sold the business, took about 1.5 to 2 years sabbatical, and just really traveled and didn't really care much about real estate, didn't really do any. Just traveled around the world and hung out and spent time with the kids and did lots of hockey development, had fun. And then I want to say was it like late 07, 08, got back into real estate, tried to align ourselves with KW, but it was very decentralized. So we ended up going to Remax, spent many years at the local Remax franchise, great company, great people. And then ended up bringing KW back to the island in 2015.
Okay.
And then at that time, shortly thereafter, I started hearing about EXP.
Okay.
And so I was just hearing little noises, EXP, some former tech genius from KW had started some company and things were, it was really cool and it was a cloud company and whatever, right? And I was just hearing stuff. And then, so I'm doing my KW stuff and we're kicking butt. We've got a mega agent office, fully remote, and we're, selling lots and lots, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate a year. But I'm not feeling really, fulfilled, right? Like I'm in transactional treadmill, deal after deal. My business partner, Randy Dick, likes to say deals were our drug of choice, right? You sell a house, you put another one in the needle and into your arm, right? Next deal, right? And so I went to franchise systems orientation with Keller Williams in the summer of 2017. Now, as a side note, probably a year before this happened, my original realtor from Ottawa, Steve Gabellini, is messaging me on Facebook and sending me text messages, Andre, saying, hey, you've got to take a look at this company, Phil. You got to take a look at this. And he's like pretty strong on the follow-up. And I always knew Steve, like Steve's a former professional musician and a cool rock and roll guy. He's pretty laid back, but he's pretty passionate about this EXP thing. Anyway, I'm so busy, whatever. I go to FSO, Franchise Systems Orientation in Austin, Texas, summer of 17. And my wife and I are having a swim, beautiful pool at the JW Marriott in Austin. It's like about, I want to say 10 stories up. And all of a sudden the fire alarm gets hit. So we've got to leave the pool in our swimsuits. And of course the elevators get shut down. So we got to walk down flights and flights and flights and flights of stairs, Andre. And so we get down, there's fire trucks, police, ambulances everywhere downtown Austin. So we just have a seat on a park bench out front in our swimsuits and our drinks. And we're sitting there having our drinks and talking. And we start talking about this EXP thing. So we decided to take a look at the video. And it was the original OG Rob Flick video, which is, you've seen it. I mean, it's nothing like these slick presentations we have now, right?
Right.
And it just got to me. And I was like, my goodness, this is going to really revolutionize things. And I finally sat down and I watched it. And I was like, honey, I really couldn't sleep. I literally, and Jay always says this, the EXP insomnia, right? I don't know if he coined it, but he certainly used the term a lot.
Right.
And I had it. And so that next morning I was at FSO. I was meeting with the president of KW International Worldwide, Bill Soderoff, to talk about acquiring the rights of KW for Italy and Croatia. But I just wasn't feeling it, man. Like I was already in another direction. So that's 2017 summer. So of course, I still got to do more due diligence. So then I see Gene, that Gene's aligned with EXP. And of course, being KW, I knew Gene from the KW days, right? He was, a regional owner, owned many market centers, was involved in KWU and faculty, MAPS coaching, just a great guy, right?
Right.
Okay, wait now. And Gene was already there before, but I didn't know that connection. I hadn't made the connection. And so now I'm getting really excited. And so I talked to Gene, I talked to Rob, and then I'm like, okay, I got to talk to Glenn. So I call Glenn. Glenn comes down to Canada. Glenn's a Canadian, by the way. Canadian founder, CFO, is a Canadian, longest standing member of the board, Canadian. Andre LaFountain, for all intents and purposes, Canadian. And so, I met with Glenn. And we spent, I want to say 3 to 4 hours together having a lovely meal at a beautiful Italian restaurant in Vancouver. And he shared his setbacks, his accomplishments, his dreams, his vision, his goal for the company. And it was a really transparent, awesome conversation. And, I was pretty much there, but I still had to go to shareholders. So I went to the shareholders in 2018 in Vegas at the JW Marriott there. And then right after that, we decided, you know what, this is for us. This thing is, this is really exciting. And so we made the leap. And so I probably spent I wasted literally 2 years of due diligence, and not just the due diligence, but being too caught up in my transactional real estate business to, stop and smell the roses, buddy. Right. And not that I was ever close to opportunity, because I was always open for business and deals and, from all industries, but I didn't slow down. And that was a big regret for me, because as we know, 2 years, it makes a big difference in our model. Right. And so, now it's been since basically early fall of 2018, we've been with EXP. It's been, an absolutely amazing journey. We've traveled around the world. I just got back from Europe. We were in Portugal, in France, Germany, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Italy, just a whirlwind of a trip, and just absolutely fantastic. And so it's just incredible what this company has done, for so many of us, right? It really is life-changing. And, that's a bit about my journey in terms of how I've gotten here to this point at EXP. And so, what other questions do you have for me, and where do we want to go with this here?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, you've shared a lot. I'll step back a little bit. Some of the things that really stuck out. When you were with KW, how big did you build your business before you sold that business?
Yeah, so the first one was almost pretty much a 7th level organization. Like I had 2 full-time listing reps, 3 admins, and I want to say 5 or 6 buyer's agents. Okay. The 200 to 300, 400, maybe close to 400 transaction type volume. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And but it was still transactional real estate. And even though I was, 7th level quasi, I'd still get sucked in, quite a bit to management, right? And to transactional stuff at times. So,
okay. Yeah. And then you moved. So, and they didn't have KW where you were going. So you started working at Remax and started building from scratch.
Scratch, Andre. Yeah, from scratch. And so one of the things that was different is that, now we were well capitalized, so we could, take a lot of the stuff that we had learned from, CP and Tom Hopkins and all that. However, Andre, we blew our brains out on marketing. And you know what? Because we were big on branding before, we thought that in this marketplace, we could just do the same thing and get the same result. And you know what? That wasn't true. So that was a humbling experience. We did have massive success, but it didn't work quite the way I thought it was going to. We full page newspaper ads in 4 local publications weekly, all kinds of crazy stuff, and didn't get the traction that we had received before by doing those same things. And so that was a bit of an aha there as well. And we had to tweak our unique selling propositions as well, because it was a much more conservative, lower key market. Okay. High value, but much more conservative and closed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And other things that you said, I mean, along the whole way, you've been in some kind of coaching and getting coached by other people at higher levels. I think that's just really important for real estate agents to know that even the top dogs like yourself are getting coached so you can get to the next level, and the people are bringing you up, right?
Amen. And you know what? We need it more than anyone else, right? Because we hit our performance plateaus, and when you're playing the game at a high level, you need those pivots, right? You need those adjustments. You need those techniques and strategies. And so mentorship and coaching and accountability are, feedback's the breakfast of champions, right? And so to surround yourself with an environment that is going to be conducive to your growth and to have that accountability is paramount to your success, for sure. Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting that you said that you had heard about EXP a couple years before, but just busy on the treadmill, working, making things happen. And you said that was a regret. I think that's one of the biggest regrets of people that I talk to is, they heard about it, maybe looked at it a little bit, but didn't really do their due diligence enough to make a decision. And months or years go by. Sounds like if you could do it all over again, you would have started a lot sooner, huh?
Yeah, I would have joined in 2009. Right? Absolutely, Andre. Yeah, but you don't know what you don't know, right? And I just was so focused and transactional that my way and what I was doing was the way to do it, because we were with the biggest and the best and whatever, right? And not being open. Yeah.
What was it that really stuck in your mind when you watched the video and really started paying attention to it, that had you really started digging deeper to saying, hey, I think they have something here?
So the agility was really appealing. Okay. So getting rid of all the fat and the weight. So the rents, the leases, the mortgages, the traditional hierarchical layers of management, the educational component, the technology offering. Okay. The Regis relationship. I've always been a fan of Regis. Okay. And I thought that was cool. When I was in Monaco, I was at Regis in Monte Carlo, overlooking the ocean. Right. So cool. And they're like, and I showed them my interesting little side note to the Regis. I showed the lady my app. Valentine was her name. And she goes, wow, I've never seen a global enterprise account. She was like, we had a special account that they hadn't seen. So, just conversation. Right. And, strangers, little side note here, getting sidetracked, but strangers really have everything we want in life, right? And so talk to those strangers, and it's the people you don't know that have everything, not necessarily the ones you know. So great dialogue there. But the Regis was a big one for me. The fact that agents were now shareholders and had a voice in the company, that agent ownership component with, now keep in mind, this is prior to us, uplisting to NASDAQ, right? We were OTC at that time. And Glenn was, just that talent that I'd seen that gravitated from, Gabellini, which was amazing, and the Ashby family, and Rob Flick, and Gene and Glenn, and it just kind of, it all really clicked, right? And then, of course, there was that unique, revenue share piece, right? That I thought, wow, like, this is cool, and I didn't understand it. Like, when Steve was trying to explain it to me, I just didn't understand. And it's not that he did a bad job. He did a great job. I just wasn't listening, right?
Yeah.
I was too busy, Andre. So I thought that was really cool, right? That the owners, not the owners, but the founder, because we're all owners. We all own the company. The founder and visionary decided that, he would, give it all back to the people that were really making the difference and making, moving the wheel, right?
Right. Now, being at Keller Williams for so many years and building an organization over there, and of course they have profit share. That's obviously similar, but totally different than revenue share off the top. With your organization that you built with Keller Williams compared to the organization you've built with EXP, and the difference between profit share and revenue share, do you know what the difference is there for your organization?
Well, Andre, to put it lightly, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of percentage points.
Wow.
Forget the dollars, percentage points different. I want to say my last profit share check from EXP, from KW, and by the way, we share revenue, which is much more transparent, and it's on the global company, not on a local market center's profitability. So that's one of the big differences in that KW's profit share is, is hyper local to the market center, versus our revenue share is totally transparent, and it's based on, half of the revenue that the company generates. And so that transparency is fantastic. I mean, we're talking, I want to say my last profit share was probably around less than $20.
Oh, wow.
And needless to say, my revenue share was, a lot more.
Yeah.
It's not Andre, it's not even in this world. It's not even in this gala. It's in a different universe in terms of the difference. And it truly is, right? And again, I mean, KW's done a great job of managing the amount they pay out they have all kinds of cool terms like owner profit, above the line profit, below the line profit. And it's really cool stuff to compress that ultimate profit that's shared on the hyper local market center basis. Right. So, again, great company, but it's like comparing a McLaren F1 car to a 1987 Ford Pinto. Respectfully.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, and you can speak intelligently about it because you're at a lot of great companies.
Yeah.
And no matter what company that you were at the top. You were a top 1%, and that's just speaks volumes. What would you say was I guess better way to say it is, how has your life changed since moving over to EXP? Being a top dog, no matter where you are, how have things changed being at EXP compared to the other companies?
I feel the contribution I can make is it's much more vast and grand. Okay. And the contribution is scalable. And so to be able to plug into people globally, right? Like I've got one of my team members in New Zealand who's, just relocated there, who's, we're super stoked about him, what he's doing. And so it's that global contribution that's no longer, hyper local. So again, Andre, having run, massively successful real estate teams yourself, like when you're in the transactional machine, like, dude, it's boom, right? We're deals. I'm on my deal machine. We're doing this. Get the ISEs on the phone. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. Right. It's
right.
A different animal. And we have a much wider, more vast scope of influence. And I think that's something that really excites me, is to be able to have that impact and that affect the change in lives on a global level.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, when you're on that transactional treadmill yourself, it's all about, the deals and just taking care of your own family. But once you can start scaling your business not just outside your current market, but get into other states, other provinces, other countries, now you're really affecting many more people's lives that you're able to impact and help them, at first grow their real estate business, get from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 deals a year, like you have and more, build their team, start their branding and grow and build outside of themselves. And then at some point help them get off the transactional treadmill and have a real business, so they can, run their business and, travel and do other things while their business continues to run.
Yeah. It's, I always say I'm recruitable. People say, will you ever leave EXP? I say, listen, I'm recruitable. Just show me a better model. But you know what? There isn't one. There isn't one. This model really checks all the boxes, and from the educational component to the technology, to the scalability, to the equity component, to that rev share piece, it's really unmatched. I mean, there's some people that are attempting to somewhat copy our model, but backed by venture capital and not real estate people, and not much credibility in the market. So yeah, I'm where I need to be right now, put it that way.
Yeah, congratulations on your success. That's pretty cool. How many different states, provinces, and countries are you currently in?
Great question, Andre. It's tough to keep track, as you know. All right, we're working on a heat map right now, but throughout pretty much every province, we're throughout a lot of the states, Mexico, Colombia, I believe Portugal, India has been a great market for us. We're in New Zealand now, and a few other places too. Right? It's it's, I don't know. Do you know off the top of your head exactly how many countries you're in right now? Can you tell me? Or
yeah, I'm in 32 states, 5 provinces of Canada, Mexico, and India.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, good. So I got to brush up on that. I know my attrition numbers and my gross numbers, but yeah,
it's pretty cool to be able to scale and affect people's lives around the globe. It's pretty fun.
And you get to travel and see them all too, Andre, right? Like you get to travel and meet with your business partners around the world and help them, change their lives and affect change in the lives of their colleagues and others.
Yeah, it's really kind of the next level of, at first, it's all about being an agent and building your business. And then ultimately you want to be a broker owner of your own business, do that for a while. You think that's the pinnacle because you're at 100%. But once people really dive into and digest and understand the EXP model, you can find out, you kind of have your cake and eat it too, and be able to do all the things you love doing, whatever that might be. If it's being in the deals, or if it's training your people, or building a global organization, whatever it is that fuels your fire, you're able to do that, but not have all the liability and the expense. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and as we know, I mean, we've had many brokerages partner with us, right? From small independents of 2 agents up to 1,000 agents, right? And there's an old saying: brokers go broke and broker. Okay. And it's really tough to make a profit in that real estate brokerage business. And so we afford the entrepreneur the luxury of ownership without all the exposure and liability, right?
Right.
Just plug into the platform. So, which is, again, pretty darn cool.
What do you say to maybe an old broker friend, or maybe it's just a a real estate broker owner that you run into in a deal, what do you say to those guys to have them take a look, even if they're totally happy and satisfied of what they're currently doing? Like you were happy.
Yeah. Hey, Andre, really appreciated that transaction. That was awesome. And congratulations on your success. Listen, I know you're happy with your brokerage. It's an awesome situation. You've done great, but I'd really love your feedback. I don't want you to move. I don't want you to, change or EXP all over you or anything. I would just love your feedback on, what it would look like, for you to partner with us. And why don't you take a look at our model and we can set a time and, go through it together and just give me your feedback. You don't have to move. I don't want you to move, but I would like your honest feedback. I respect you. You've been in the business a long time and that would mean the world to me. Is that okay? Can you live with that, Andre?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great way to have someone just kind of take a look, because it kind of takes the pressure off when they're just kind of doing you a favor. And if they're really, business minded, they would want to know what the competition is doing as well, so they can learn from it if they know how fast and quickly that we're growing, and hedge against maybe, some of their people leaving to have ownership.
100%, right? Why not educate yourself, right? And so it's interesting you say that, because I'm sure you have, as I have, we've had people try to reverse recruit us and they end up coming over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened a few times. Yeah.
Let's find out about this EXP. And then all of a sudden, well, you know what? Like, wow, I was actually doing I was on a counterintelligence mission and now I'm bringing my brokerage over. So.
Yeah, that's happened several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, where do you see yourself, Phil, in 5 years from now? Where do you think your business is going to be, in 5 years?
Yeah, great question, Andre. I want to be affecting change on a global level, and making kings and queens out there, and having a lot of the top agents. I really enjoy, Andre, taking agents that are brand new to the business. I call it from zero to hero. Okay. And so that's something that really kind of gets my, gets my goat and gets me going. And so to have that kind of a situation where I can say that I have got 100 agents that I've personally, provided mentorship that have, broken that 7-figure in annual commissions. I think that would be really cool on the business side of things. Right.
Right.
Yeah, I really love to see new agents succeed, and experienced veterans for that matter. But to have a blank canvas and to give them the tools and the strategy to go out and win. And we've been blessed with some of those wins. We've had some agents do first 12 months in business, 75 closed transactions, 950,000 GCI closed, wow. 660,000 50 plus closed transactions. So we've definitely had a good share of rookies kind of just hit it out of the park, right? And they're not bringing bad habits, right, Andre?
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah, that's really fulfilling when you can change people's lives like that. So, congratulations again, Phil, for all your success and what you're doing. And anyone listening, you're out in the British Columbia, or it doesn't matter. Our company's in 25 countries. Reach out to Phil or myself and let us answer some of your questions and take a deep dive and find out, what's going on. I heard just a few weeks ago, I think Real Trend said that did the numbers, and transactional wise, we became the number one company on the globe as far as selling more homes than any other company out there. So, that says a lot.
Yeah. And our competition likes to say we're just a bunch of recruiters recruiting recruiters. Well, how did we get to number one in sales volume? I don't know.
Yeah.
And you know what else is crazy? Actually, we've surpassed RE/MAX by 17,000 agents in the US.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, RE/MAX, great company, but we're 17,000. Yeah, roughly 77,000 versus their 60,000, which is kind of blew my mind. I didn't know we'd surpassed them by that much, not only in agent count, but also sales volume too. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I saw another report that came out a few weeks ago as well, with all the, the top 4 or 5 biggest companies that's out there, and their 2023 numbers, and all of them had lost billions.
Yeah.
And EXP was the only one that grew by billions. I don't have the exact percentage reports, but it was like, I don't know, 20 something percent growth.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I know.
Yeah,
awesome,
there was like a 40% hedge difference between the big box stores that lost and we gained. So it says something, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's a reason, right? Like disruptors. I mean, again, we always use the Netflix analogy, right? To Blockbuster, the Uber to taxis, Airbnb to hotels, and of course, Amazon to traditional retail. EXP is that disruption to the real estate space, right? And so our value proposition is really unmatched.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Phil. I know you got some more lives to change, so I'll let you go. The last question I always ask people: if you're a reader, what's the number one book that you'd like to recommend, or if you're a movie watcher, what's the all-time best movie you like to recommend?
Well, this is going from both sides. Number one book would be the Bible.
Okay.
And
awesome.
Number two for the movie would be, you know what? I love Goodfellas.
Okay. That's awesome.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Andre, for having me. And again, folks, don't hesitate to reach out to Andre or myself if you have any questions. We're here to support you with your businesses, with your success, whether you're interested in EXP or not, whatever, just reach out. We've, between the two of us, we've got, thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions under our belt and years and years and years of experience. And there probably isn't a challenge that you're facing that we haven't had to deal with. So,
yeah, we're absolutely happy to help in any way that we can. We're all in this business together, especially with the market changing. We need to all lift each other up and help each other, not just survive, but thrive through this market. And I know you will, and we're looking to do the same. Thanks, Phil, for joining us today. And thanks, everyone, for joining us on the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Cheers.
Thanks, Phil. Bye-bye. Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
I love FFF, Financial Freedom Forever, is helping you to grow, all support and coaching and training me and my family. Now we have more time to spend together and make more money.
Competition is good, but collaboration is better. The one thing that I really love about this group and this community is that an abundance mindset, always looking to add value. It's really clear that this organization is pouring in as we have the best agents, not only in the US, but all over the globe.
I believe if you surround yourself with like-minded people that are doing 10, 15, 20 times more than me and you put together, we all bring each other up and bring our businesses to the next level and our lives. To learn more about how to partner with us, go to partnerwithandre.com or click the link below. And let's have a conversation.